Om Om Yo Brahmanam Vidadhati Purvam Yo Vai Vedanscha Prahinoti Tasmai Tamhadevamatma Buddhi Prakasham Mumukshurvai Sharanamaham Prapadye. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartribhyo Vamshishibhyo Mahadbhyo Namo Gurubhya Sarvopaplavaraitaha Prajnanaganaha Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Vedantartha Vibhasakaya Gurave Shantaya Sannyasine Nanavadi Nagendra Sanghapavaye Yogindra Vandyaya Cha Mohadvanta Divakaraya Bhagavat Pada Vidham Vibrate Tasmai Bhashyakate Namostu Satatam Purnaya Bodhatmane. Mahadeva, Mahadeva, Mahadeva. So the topic that we have for this evening is knowledge and ignorance. Now, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says about this knowledge is that yashyatva neha bhuyonyat jnatavyam avashishyate. Having known which there is nothing left which can be called as still unknown or that which is unexperienced. No, which means there seems to be some knowledge which removes every sense of limitation, because the sense of limitation is expressed in our life as yet to be done, yet to be experienced, yet to be seen. So something which is left undone or not done, not experienced, etc. That that voices the sense of incompleteness, and therefore, what is it that removes this sense of incompleteness, the sense of being not satisfied, the sense of limitation, is this knowledge. And therefore, in order to know what is that knowledge that Shri Krishna is talking about now, is something that we should dwell upon. So also the Upanishads say that ya vidya sa vimuktaye, that alone can be called as knowledge which sets you free, which means that which bestows the liberation alone can be called as knowledge. Now, if you are going to set this as a standard to understand what knowledge is, then I feel that we will inevitably have to categorize all those religious studies, religious branches of knowledge, or even the secular branches of knowledge into the category of that which is not Vidya, because Vidya means which liberates. And Vidya means that which liberates. Ya Vidyasa Vimuktaye. I have seen this, sentence of the Upanishads used by schools and colleges and various educational institutions. One second. Is my picture clear to you?
Yes, Swamiji, it is clear. It is
Okay.
clear.
All right. Chalo, I believe now whatever is happening in my phone must be happening. So we have this as Vidya, knowledge. So now we understand one thing, that is that knowledge, Vidya, is the means to liberation. And by liberation, we mean freedom from suffering, freedom from misery. And so, what is this knowledge then? So, we have, in general, we understand information as knowledge. We understand information as knowledge. And therefore, we say that, well, I have knowledge, but I do not have an experience. And this is how people place experience above knowledge. In my earlier discourses, also, I must have brought up this point and I make it sure that it does come even when the audience, whether audience is used to me or audience is new, that this distinction about knowledge and experience, which has made the spirituality or the whole science bifurcated into two groups, as if people who are seeking knowledge are not the people who are seeking experience. And people who are seeking experience make it very clear that we don't want to learn, we don't want to know, we want experience. Thus, there seems to be some sort of a bifurcation over here, but you should always see to it that when you say that you are experiencing something, that at that same time you can also say that I know something. Let us say that there is this some plastic box in my hand. And then you can say, well, I know it is a plastic box. I can experience it is a plastic box in Swamij's hand. So now the same thing can be said as experience and knowledge. And therefore, experience is basically knowledge. Because there is no experience without knowing. Knowledge and experience, we have to understand, are not two. Because there cannot be experience without knowledge. But we also understand that there is knowing something necessarily does not mean experiencing something at the same time. So, what is it? And so, over here, we distinguish, we understand this as whenever there is knowing, when but that object is not directly known, then when that object is not directly known, you call it as knowledge, and when the object is directly known, you call it as experience. So direct knowledge is what is called as experience, and that knowledge which is not direct, but that knowledge which has got some sort of a gap between the knower and the known, is called as knowledge, information, etc. So technically we are going to say that uh, that knowledge, jnanam, which is with vyavadhanam, is called as knowledge, but that knowledge which is without any vyavadhanam, without any obstacle, is called as an experience. Now, knowledge is the same, and I will make it clear through one example. And what could that example be? Being a Vedanti, I cannot be comfortable without bringing our snake in the rope. You see that there is a person who enters into a room which is dimly lit, and then he finds that there is something, and then he's startled because he says, well, it is a snake. Okay, it is a snake. Somehow he gathers little courage, and then he switches the light on, and then he says it is a rope. Now there are two statements about the same object. It is a snake, it is a rope. But there is something that that happened in between. I'll tell you what happened. So this is the story. This is the twist in the story. Bef- Between these two sentences, which are actually his experiences, you see what happens. Now this person screamed that there is a snake. So then this boy's father came into the room and he said, it is not a snake, it is a rope. So now, with whatever that father had said, he still was doubting that this could be a snake, right? He trusts his father, and that's why he could have little courage. He goes and he switches the light on, and there he finds it is a rope. Now you see, now you have three things to analyze. One is when he says that this is a snake. The second is that now, in the second, where his father comes and tells him it is a rope, now he knows it is a rope. Though he knows it is a rope, yet he doubts that it could be a snake too. And then finally, when he switches the light on, there he sees that it is a snake. So now, what has happened? In the second instance, where his father came, in the second segment of our story, where his father came and he said it is a rope, he has the knowledge that it is a rope. And when he switches on, there also he says the same sentence, it is a rope. Now, it is a rope. This knowledge has already taken place when his father told him. But what is the difference? The difference that you and me in our common parlance are going to say is when his father told him, he had the information, the knowledge, but he did not have the experience. Now, and what when he has the experience, what is the statement? The same statement, it is a rope. So it is a rope. This sentence is there twice. When the father tells him, that also he knows, and when he actually sees it, that also he knows. Now, what is the difference between these two statements is that in the first statement, that knowledge still has some doubts and viparyaya, contradictory experience sitting over there. And that is what is an obstacle. So when that obstacle is removed, when there is no longer any space for any doubt or any contradictory experience, that is where you call as knowledge converted into experience. So also over here, when Sri Krishna is talking about knowledge, now we have this knowledge. What is this knowledge that removes the ignorance, because knowledge means that which removes the ignorance. Okay? What is that knowledge which removes the ignorance? And what is this ignorance also we have to see? Whether it is ignorance about Brahman or whether it is an ignorance about the pot. Ignorance is ignorance. So, what is this ignorance is the question which the knowledge is going to remove, and how does the knowledge removes. So, this is the topic that we are going to look at. So, what can be called as ignorance? Somebody then comes up and says, ignorance means absence of knowledge. Okay? What is the paksha that is prapta? Ignorance is absence of knowledge. But we say that ignorance is not absence of knowledge. Because absence means it is an abhava padartha. Okay? Now let us say, if I tell you that there is an absence of pot or an absence of a rabbit on my table. My table has few pens, a book, a mic, the camera, all these things are there. But a rabbit is absent. So now there is absence of rabbit on my table. Okay. Similarly, absence of knowledge can be there. But can absence of knowledge be called as ignorance is the question. You see that where we are dealing, what we are going to deal with, how we started. We have started with Bhagavan Shri, the statement of the Upanishad, which says that knowledge is that which puts an end to misery. Ya vidyasa vimuktaye. Then we proceeded to understanding that knowledge removes ignorance. Then we also saw one more topic in between before we come to ignorance is about knowledge and experience. So experience is also basically the same knowledge, but bereft of samshaya and viparyaya, bereft of the obstacles, and that is what we call as the experience. So it is basically knowledge, and that's why you don't have Brahmanubhavi Purush. What is the word that we have in the scriptures? Brahmajnani Atmavit Brahmavit Tarati Shokam Atmavit. Atmajnani only is the word that we find. Huh? Oh, Brahmanubhavi Purushaha. Not generally used anything like that. Hana. And Brahma Anubhavi also will mean that he who experiences Brahman. How does he experience Brahman? Is some ice cream or a bubble gum or chewing gum that you're going to eat and experience? No, nothing like that. So now we are going to see. So thus we have seen all these topics. Now we are seeing as Sarvajñatma Muni, etc., all these great acharyas say that what is it that knowledge does is that it only removes ignorance. Knowledge removes ignorance. So question is, what can be called as ignorance? What is this ignorance? Is ignorance absence of knowledge? If ignorance is absence of knowledge, then also like the ghata will remove the ghata bhava. If the ghata is there, the pot is there, absence of pot is naturally removed. So also when knowledge takes place, obviously absence of knowledge will go away. But can absence of knowledge be called as ignorance? You see, What do we have a question over here? Can absence of knowledge be called as ignorance? So yes, it can. No. Yes and no. Nahi. It cannot be called as. There are people in various other schools who do call absence of knowledge as ignorance. But in Vedanta, we do not accept absence of knowledge as ignorance. Why is that so? Listen to this. Now, question is, why did you see the snake? You or somebody else, it does not matter. Those snake and the rope in that instance. Why did you see the snake? And what is your answer? Because I did not know it is a rope. Correct? Had I known it is a rope, why would I mistake it for a or misunderstand it for a snake? And therefore, you see that this of error of seeing the snake is because of ignorance, because of not knowing. Okay? Because of not knowing. So Swamiji, how are you going to relate it to ignorance not being absence of knowledge? Very slowly, proceed with me. Okay? What happens is, can this absence of rabbit on my table produce anything? Can it can there be any karya, an effect by this absence of rabbit? So, question is absence capable of becoming a karanam? You understand what is the question? That is absence capable of becoming a karanam? Like milk is the karanam of yogurt, so on and so forth, whatever karya karana bhav that you have, whatever is karanam has to be how? Present. It cannot be called as abhava padartha. True? And so, if ignorance was absence of knowledge, some abhava padartha like that, how can it become the cause of brahma or the cause of error? Because you erroneously have mistaken rope to be the snake. So to experience the snake, to see the snake, to call it the snake is an error. So what is it that has caused this error? And you are going to say it is ignorance. So ignorance is designated with causality, that it has karanatvam. Huh? It has karanatvam. If it has karanatvam, it cannot be an abhava padartha. It cannot be called as an abhava padartha. It cannot become an abhava padartha. Okay, then absence must be bhava padartha. But if this ignorance is abhava padartha, then can it be removed by knowledge? If it is an bhava padartha, can it be removed by knowledge? By knowing the pot, can I remove the pot? Because the knowledge of pot has taken place, that means what will happen? The pot should go away because knowledge becomes nivartaka of a bhava padartha. Can that happen? No. But knowledge removes the ignorance, and therefore ignorance cannot be even called as bhava padartha. It cannot be called as abhava, it cannot be called as bhava, and therefore now there is a problem as what exactly where to place this ignorance. And so now Bhagavan Shankaracharya, he says that this ignorance is anirvachaniyam. How is it? It since it cannot be called as anything because it can be removed through knowledge, and it cannot be called as bhava padartha. It cannot be called as abhava because it has causality in it. And therefore, what do you call it? So now finally, you are left with only one choice, and that is that you say that this ignorance is anirvachaniyam. It cannot be called as bhava existing, non existing. I mean, you experience it as existing, but you cannot call it as real. You experience it as existing, but you cannot call it as real. Because if it is real, it cannot be removed by knowledge. You will require something elsewhere. It cannot be removed by knowledge. You will require something elsewhere. So, thus, what is it that we have now in front of us is that this knowledge removes the ignorance. This is accepted by all. Knowledge removes ignorance. But here also we still have one more problem to cross over, and that is when you say knowledge removes ignorance, you mean to say that knowledge is opposed to ignorance. You see, what do you say? Knowledge is opposed to ignorance. If knowledge is opposed to ignorance, how do you know ignorance? You understand what is happening? If is opposed to ignorance, that means when knowledge comes, ignorance will go away. But you know ignorance, which means that knowledge and ignorance are there together. Ignorance is not removed. Therefore, and this is your experience when you wake up from sleep, what is the experience that you say about your sleep? That sukham aham aswapsam na kinchidavedisham. I did not know anything. Why did you not know anything? Because I slept well. So now the sleep is an experience that you are going to say where ignorance is known, nothing else is known. So, nakinchida vedesham. I did not know any Vishayas. So, if ignorance is known, then the question is how did this knowledge and ignorance stay together? Now, in this case, we are left with two choices. That we have to say that there are two types of knowledges. That one knowledge which is opposed to ignorance, and one knowledge which is not opposed to ignorance, which in fact supports the existence of ignorance. बंद करना वो. Which supports the existence of ignorance. So how is it? So are there two types of knowledges? So then we say there is no two types of knowledges. There can be two different objects of knowledge, but knowledge is one. I will explain it to you. Look at this. When you say Ghatashyanam, means knowledge of the pot. Then you say patajnanam. In that case, please tell me, ghatajnanam or patajnanam? Ghata and pata are the vishayas of knowledge. Okay? They are different, but in what way is the knowledge different? In what way is knowledge different? So, knowledge is one, or knowledge, there are two types of knowledge. This question now is resolved that though knowledge is one, yet in one instance it does not remove the ignorance, but in the second case it removes the ignorance. How does this happen? And this phenomena is also explained to us in a very beautiful way through this Puranas, that in order to destroy Kamsa and all these things, Krishna Bhagavan, that same Lord has to arrive in the womb of Devaki. Where has he to come? In the womb of Devaki. Otherwise, what? He could have destroyed just like that. But no, in order to destroy, where does that Lord has to come? In the womb of Devaki. Isn't it? That is what becomes, that is what this Kamsa is told, that the Devaki's Garbha, the progeny of Devaki, the eighth progeny of Devaki, will destroy you. So also now this knowledge, which is the Swarupa Jnanam, which is the very nature of the self, has to arrive in the vritti, in the thought. And when it comes into the thought, when this knowledge, the self is reflected, the consciousness that is reflected in, when the consciousness is reflected in the thought, now such a thought in shape of the pot will destroy the ignorance about the pot. So when does it become capable? When does this consciousness, when does this knowledge becomes capable of destroying the ignorance? Only when it is riding on the thought. So knowledge destroys is also a fact, and knowledge in one place does not destroy is also a fact. But now we are concerned about knowledge which is going to destroy the ignorance, because destruction of ignorance is what is called as liberation. Okay, in Vedanta, what is liberation? This removal of avidya, of this ignorance, is called as. So now there is the whole process is that how does the normal knowledge takes place? Normal in the sense, does the pot knowledge takes place? That when the pramanas, when the means of knowledge are able to function, and then the ignorance is removed. So also over here, the means of knowledge is the Mahavakya, Tattvamasi. But you are going to say that, sir, we have heard Tattvamasi so many times, but the ignorance is not going away. We still find that I am experiencing myself as limited, as a karta, bhokta, stri, purusha, etc., etc. Where has the ignorance gone away? Where has the suffering come to an end? Because where the ignorance gets destroyed, the suffering will also come to an end. And that is uh, what is pledged by the Upanishad, by Sri Krishna. Mamekam sharanam braja ahantva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha, that I shall liberate you. So when the knowledge takes place, ignorance and all, not only that ignorance goes away, along with ignorance, what goes away? Even the dukkha goes away. So now, why is dukkha going away? Because dukkha is caused by ignorance, and that is the reason why dukkha goes away. But sir, our question, you have explained that what happens with knowledge, that it removes the ignorance. So it should only remove the ignorance. Instead, the Upanishad and the Bhagavad Gita is saying when the knowledge takes place, what goes away? Misery goes away. And therefore, now by the virtue of that, we are forced to understand what? That ignorance is the cause of misery. Okay? Ignorance is the cause of misery. But who is a person who can attain knowledge? Now, what is the means of knowledge? The means of knowledge is also called as jnanam. In the 13th chapter, this is what is shown. And why are you saying so? Because the word jnanam, when derived in the sense of karana, when it derived in the sense of instrument, it is jnayate anena iti jnanam. What is jnanam? That by which something is known. And therefore, now the word knowledge or the word jnanam becomes the means of knowledge. And how does Sri Krishna Bhagavan show you that what is the means of knowledge? Jnanam. In fact, this hint is already given to you in the second chapter itself, wherein he says, Yam hina vyatayante purusham purusharshava samadukha sukham dhiram somritatvaya kalpate. Who is a person who is capable of attaining this amritam? Who is this person who is capable of attaining this amritam and this freedom from death, freedom from misery? Who is he? So over there, Shri Krishna slowly says, uh, Kalpate means he has the capacity. Who has the capacity? Yam hina vyathayanti ete, ete. These various experiences of joy and sorrow, success and failure, appreciation and criticism, when these experiences do not rattle a person, yam hina vyathayanti ete purusham purusharashabha. O Arjuna, you are best amongst men. So when a man in the sense, a person is not rattled by these experiences, and samadukha sukham dhiram, he who is able to look at both the experiences of sukha and dukkha as what? As basically both are just experiences. Sukha and dukkha. So thus he has reduced both of them to what? And he is able to see them with the eye of equanimity. Samadukha sukham dhiram amritatvaya kalpate. A person is now such a person becomes capable of realizing the truth, realizing the self, realizing that which is the very knowledge which is seated, that consciousness which is seated in your heart. So Krishna Bhagavan already has laid a foundation, he has already given you an hint as what is that capacity because of which knowledge can dawn. So over here it is just not Pramana Prameya Vyavaharaha, but it means that there is a lot preparation before this Pramana Prameya Vyavahara also can take place. And so we discover in the chapter number 13, wherein Bhagwan is now going to elaborately enumerate, not elaborate, but enumerate on what are those factors because of which knowledge can take place. What are those factors? Here he goes. Amanitvam adambhitvam ahimsa kshantirarjavam acharyopasanam shaucham sthairyamatma vinigraha. Amanitvam, absence of manita, abhiman, egoism. Huh? Because these are all very, very required. And they are called as the means of knowledge over here. And everything that is opposed to this is what is going to fortify and strengthen the fortress of ignorance. And therefore, amanitvam is absence of egoism. That how you want to prove to others that how you are better than everybody else. Hmm? Amanitvam adam. You know, there was this one queen of Baroda, Sita Devi. I don't remember. I think Pratap Singh was the husband. Now they had taken away took away several jewels from the royal treasury of Baroda, and then they lived in Morocco or somewhere. I was reading, and now living over there, she had to sell away some of her jewelry, some emeralds and rubies, which were into her anklets. Anklets मतलब पायजेब, पैरों में जो पहनते हैं वो. In those anklets, there were those rubies and very precious big ones. So then she sold it to one of those, diamond or jewelry and all these big brands and all that. Now, the diamonds or those jewels were taken away from that anklet, and it was made to sit into some necklace, and which was purchased by one of these European queens. So when this Sita Devi meets this queen in a party and people were appreciating it, she goes and says, but they were looking better on my feet. You see, though now this queen, she felt bad and she returned it, and then that there was a drama about it. But if somebody had to be there in the place of the other queen who had made it into a necklace, could have said, "Hi, it was looking better on your feet, but there was no money in your purse, and hence you had to do this. What were your feet going to do with this jewel sitting on that?" And so you had to sell it, though it was looking nice on you. And you see, now this could have had been said, and that could have had been a great insult. If you want to insult somebody, you also be prepared to get insulted. Amanitvam. Amanitvam means that absence of this kind of false pride. Amanitvam, adambhitvam. Dambhitva means wherein a person glorifies his own qualities. If somebody has helped someone, a person goes about telling how he has been very generous and very helpful and very good and so on and so forth. Now this is dambha. According to Shankaracharya, this is what is dambha. Krishna Bhagavan says, absence of this dambha. Dambha generally is understood as hypocrisy, but this is how, in the Bhashyam, this is how he explains. So, absence of this dambha is called as adambhitvam. If you ever want this clean your heart from all these qualities. So, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshantirarjavam. Shanti also means यहाँ पे नीचे रखना वो ये पानी ऊपर रखो ये नीचे रखो थर्मस अदम हाँ Shanti means that some you are able to that huh, you are able to forgive a person for some aparadh that he has done to you. Uh, So over there, that is what is called as Shanti. Arjavam means straightforwardness. Now understand that straightforwardness also does not mean that a person when he uses, you know, excuse of being straightforward to hurt other people. Straightforwardness means that a person does not have any crooked intentions. In our common parlance, straightforwardness means a person, if somebody is lame, he will call, hey, you, Mr. Lame. Oh, no, this is not called as straightforwardness. Oh, I just speak truth and truth is bitter. If your truth is bitter, don't speak. Better don't speak. Manu Bhagwan does not allow that. Satyam bruyat, priyam bruyat, ma bruyat satyam apriyam. If you are satyam, if you cannot cradle your satyam in sweet words, don't you have no right to speak. Acharyopasanam shaucham. So now even this quality of service to the teacher is also there. Acharya upasanam shaucham sthiryam. And this is a very nice quality. Sthiryam means that when you have decided that Paramatma alone is the goal of my life, that is called as sthiryam. What is called as sthiryam? That's the steadfast sankalpa that Paramatma alone is the goal of my life. When this happens, this steadfastness of your understanding in your gati, in your goal, in your of life is called as thairyam. Okay? Thairyam. Atma vinigraha. Now, even to have control over the body, mind, etc., is all what is called as this is jnanam. Now there are other shlokas right up to we have just seen one shloka. So from this shloka number 7 to shloka number 11, Bhagavan Shri Krishna enumerates all those qualities because of which now knowledge can take place in your heart. And if when the knowledge takes place, it removes the ignorance which is which what is the nature of ignorance? Anirvachaniyam. This ignorance can be removed. This sorry, removal of ignorance itself is called as moksha in Vedanta. So thus this is what is the scheme of liberation of your spiritual journey here, what we find in Bhagavad Gita and from other sources. Friends, I will have to stop over here, and I kindly forgive me because it was said that the session is going to last till 8 o'clock, but because of another commitment over here in Delhi, I'll have to end it now, and I will take your leave, Vasu and Vani. Thank you both, and thank you everyone. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I will have to quickly go. Thank you all.